Hey, it's Mike from Apollo, and we are at week number 4 of the Build Your Go-to-Market course. We're at a very exciting time because we're going to launch today in this video. We're going to get it all live. So all the hard work from week 1, which was about audience and market and segmentation and value propping, all of that, that's been done. Week 2, messaging, really landing the message for your ideal customer. That's done. CRM and plumbing it all together, capturing the leads, having the pipe. That's done. Now we can launch. Now, the interesting thing that I often find at the launch moment, and this goes way back in the Mike Parsons time machine, is invariably, if there's one thing that always seems to catch everyone out, is that when they launch, they're often very focused on one, maybe 2 things that are really new. Oh, we've got the new video, is YouTube up and working? And then, they tend to go, oh, forgot to update LinkedIn, forgot to, the website's not quite right. And it's this not getting everything in alignment, orchestrating a comprehensive launching as one motion. This is the hardest thing about launching, particularly for the first time, because you figure out, oh, we forgot this. And sometimes you miss things and people email you and say, hey, this wasn't right. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow a really specific kind of order of things. First thing, we're going to do a checklist together. It's important, it's simple, but it's super important. Then we're going to get into also doing some outbound. So you, as a founder, are going to, get on the phone and talk to your customers. And thirdly, we're going to pull it all together in the dashboard and think about how do we learn and how do we kind of move into further sprints after this one. So we've got a lot ahead. And as usual, I'm going to go and click on the share button and we are going to get straight into things. Okay. So what you see on screen is the checklist we're going to go into. As I mentioned, we're going to do outbound. We're going to do some dashboarding. And as a bit of a teaser, we want to get you to this end state where you have complete visibility and oversight of your business. But let's start with the checklist. Okay, so the reason that I've done the checklist like this is I wanted it to be something that when you're tired, when you're a bit done, you can just pull this out and say like, tick, 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 is it done? And hopefully it catches 1 or 2 things. We want to orchestrate our launches so that they're cohesive and moving as one, because for sure customers will come in at all weird different angles. It won't be like a golden path as you might expect. It'll be a very organic, loopy kind of process. So you need everything, all those touch points need to be perfect. Okay, so let's assume, because you've done this fantastic course, your strategy is rock solid. Key things there, you might want to make sure you've got value prop, core messaging, etc., etc. Okay, let's get into some new stuff. Obviously, having your website and the vehicle for conversion is really, really critical. So you need to just make sure everything's working, like calendar bookings, like I use Calendly on my side. Contact form is working. Lead magnets, that was some of the tools for trust that we've been building. For me, this one is the one. Strong call to action. I invariably see pages with different call to actions, and like particularly for a landing page, just one, and make sure it is strong and it is compelling, that you've run it through a few bits of testing with real customers so that's good. Book a demo, download, register, sign up, enroll. Really strong verb actions, call to action. Okay, so website, strong call to action. That's the big one here. You want to make sure that it's robust. If you're not sure, grab someone in the hall, grab someone at the water cooler and say, hey, what do you think about this? Okay, very important, because we actually did a whole week of this course was focused on this. From CRM and sales, you'll notice here, like there's some really good things. We didn't get time to touch upon like the emails and the automations that come off the back of people going into your CRM system. I think, you can particularly think about reminders if they're not moving through your sales process. Those sort of things can all be automated, set it up, if this, then that. That's a whole course, I think, actually, that sort of automation engine stuff. But you just want to make sure that you've got those things all kind of connected up. Big thing, number one thing, I would say, is lead capture integration. Everything else below this is defunct if you're not capturing the leads correctly. The other thing here is, regardless of what changes on your website, if every single lead comes into your CRM. We use Zoho CRM in the example. Whichever platform you're using for your CRM, make sure that you are capturing your leads in it, because it's a gold mine of intellectual property. This is your IP. Like, you can go back to it, figure out what's happening with the business. If the leads are all over the place in different systems, you can have a real challenge doing the pattern recognition of, what could we do better? Probably the simplest one I see being missed is that people do a lot on their website or on their video, and then the LinkedIn page has different language, different branding, different calls to action. I've seen many examples of customers receiving emails that they've opted in for via the website, but when they finally book a call in B2B SaaS, it's actually off the LinkedIn post. So this is why it's so important to make sure all these bits are all working cohesively. So in this case, if you've been developing a new website, really make sure that all your own media touchpoints, the blog, the resources, the wikis, the docs, all of them are cohesive and aligned with your go-to-market. In terms of owned media, if you're a really early stage, you might not have some of these things like events, referral partnerships or whatnot. But I think the biggest thing you want to see happening in your earned media, so this is social platforms, you want to get some visibility on people who have used or who would advocate or have a case study or a testimony about using the product. Great example was I spoke to a founder earlier this year, and she was just starting her efforts with onboarding the first customers. And the first thing I said, well, you need to get some sort of permission to welcome your new clients onto your platform in public. That's like the least you could do. But then I really encouraged to show a picture of the person and link to that person on LinkedIn, link to their company on LinkedIn, build up that social network for your business. This is really essential, because one of the big things I'm sure you do as well is like, is anybody actually using this? It looks good, it sounds good, but who's using it? So that's why that one's really important. Bit of a checklist here for your paid founder-led sales. So we're just moving a little bit from the product-led sales moment, moving away from the marketing and sales-led sales. We're now going to the founder-led sales. This is super important because whether or not you do this long-term as your growth motion, founder sales give founders proximity to the customer. Very, very handy situation. I would say the biggest thing, if you have done nothing on this because you're exhausted trying to get to launch, you get your go-to-market going, at least have a target list. In fact, we're going to do that as an exercise in a little bit. Have that target list so you're ready to go out, connect with them, talk to them, meet with them, do a diagnostic, do a solution for them, do a proposal for them. You need to get that list done before launch. I think that the next big thing is, if you have connected your Google Analytics, your Zoho CRM, your HubSpots, all of these tools, you want to have some ability to pull that together in a dashboard. In fact, I think that's so important that I've even done a whole part of this course we're going to do in this video together is based on that. So here you go. Like, this is a bunch of stuff for you to take care of. I'm just highlighting here what I consider to be the really important things. But hopefully when you go through this list, you can really evaluate your launch readiness and give yourself a little bit of a score. If you get 40 plus, I think you're in a pretty good place. You can launch. So this is activity number 1, which is go through this checklist, make sure you can tick everything off so you can launch your go-to-market. So we talked about founder-led sales, and I stressed to you that this will give you a lot of insight to either continue with sales led by a founder, or importantly, it could trigger just a few little hints at messaging keywords, or worst case scenario, look, it's like you're like an anthropologist. You're just going out to understand these humans who have problems, they're looking for solutions, and how can you fulfill that need? So for this activity, building your outbound list, we've said 30. Like, ideally, to be honest, like 100 is really the right number. I just don't want to make you do too much work here. Start with 30. I mean, the reason why you have to keep in mind that your conversion rate is going to be very low. It's an early stage startup, so you might not even get 1 out of 30. Out of 100, 1 or 2 might be a chance. When you build that, you want to put in the important information, but priority is really important. Who has the greatest sense of urgency, in your opinion, to buy your service? Those are the first calls. So the next thing you need to do, because we're thinking about outbound, we're dialing for dollars, we're picking up the phone, is make sure you can articulate your pitch to them in their context with their needs in mind, not what you want, not what you are, but how you solve a problem for them that they have, how you help them with their job to be done. We did a lot of that work in week 1 around the value proposition, so go back to that if you need help there. Okay, you're going to launch and you're going to go outbound. And without a doubt, the most likelihood of a close will come from someone you know, particularly for early stage companies and particularly for first-time founders. So I would stress follow up with your existing contacts. Who do you know or who do you know that might know somebody else who fits your ICP? Critical, critical. That's going to be your fast track. Okay, here's what you want to do is like book those customer conversations, have them have a single source of record, single source of truth. Hello, Zoho CRM, as we've done, or your record of choice. Make sure you have it down. So you're going to do these customer conversations. Hopefully you can book in a few calls. You've got your Calendly working. If there was anything on those calls, and I go back to this little insight, you're just there to learn, listen more than you speak. I do know that some companies who use AI to do the note taking will actually measure this. How much did you speak? How much did the prospect speak? They actually measure that. They benchmark it. They put in their dashboard because they say that that is their best indicator of a positive outcome. So that's pretty high level stuff, but that's just one way you can think about this. Listen more than you speak. They're humans. You're human. Do the right thing. Don't shove a solution down their throats. Listen to what they're trying to fix. I like this one. Get out of the building. When in doubt, go to an industry event. High concentration of potential prospects. You can go in a day and maybe you start your few conversations. You're a bit rough, maybe a bit nervous. No problem. By the end of the day, you'll be hitting home runs. I have no doubt. So go to an industry event if you have to, and then look at your results. It's just like a classic funnel. You want to convert through it. How many people did you speak to? How many did you actually get bookings with, next steps with? That's the classic process. So I've kind of constructed this a little bit as a kind of like a sprint exercise. Maybe do this for 30 days, 30 prospects, nice and easy. Hopefully you do this every single day in sprint 1, 2, 3, and 4, and forever. That's going to be your source to a real growth engine, sustaining, repeating the results. A moment for reflection, review these, go again. The whole thing about outbound is it's just about activity. Dial, email, call, repeat. And, once you get into it, you'll enjoy it because particularly when a customer shares an insight that's really, really powerful, the lights will go on. You'll be connected to what they need. You'll see how you can help them. And then your story gets better. Okay, we've had a checklist for launch, which is more like sort of the inbound. We've now gone on to the outbound. Now we need to talk about a dashboard. So what you see on screen here, it's just an example of me. If we were running Field Ops, which is a company I created for this course, this is what heaven looks like. You might need more than 30 days to get to this. If you remember, we only just started building some of these features. But I think it's important to know what success looks like, what great sustainable growth looks like. I don't want you to be too overwhelmed by all the numbers and the graphs here, but I do want to call out a couple of things for you. First of all, you have an overall look at the funnel on the website. How many visitors become leads? How many leads get meetings? How meetings become proposals, turn into customers? This is a classic pipe, and you can see the conversion rates are here. Once you get some consistent traffic over a couple of months, the patterns in the conversion rates will become more obvious. They'll become more important. In the beginning, it's just about getting people through. You might even celebrate the first organic lead that you convert into a customer. So this is really important. So this is the funnel. Then you've got your pipe. So, somebody who is in the lead or the meeting stage is not yet a closed opportunity. So you're going to have a pipeline of qualified, proposed, negotiating. You'll also be able to see where they're coming from. And you'll have a bit of a scorecard of the different activities that do and don't work. And then you'll have a look at all this, activities by week. This is such a great proxy for future sales conversions. Look at the activities this week's. I'll show you cash in the bank in 2 or 3 months. So this is what a great dashboard looks like. So we've got a whole exercise here, and it really starts with this question. If I looked at my business every morning, every Monday morning, what would I want to know? So for you, some of these things might not work. For you, maybe you want to add a few other things. So what you want to do here is go through this exercise and start to fill in some of these things. You'll notice a couple of concepts we talked about a lot: top, middle, bottom of funnel. This is super important. Activity, customer success. You can see here I put in some example numbers from Field Ops, and this is all about working your way through here so that you have all of that data. This is your end state. And you'll remember that you can build something that looks very similar to this in Zoho CRM. What's really good is in a tool like that, you've got so much of your paid campaigns, you've got your organic, you've got your search, your website, everything is largely done from within a central tool like Zoho CRM, like HubSpot. So there's really good options for you there to like centralize and really build this model. So what have we just done together, not only here in this week and in these set of activities? Let's reflect a little bit what we've done on this entire course. Most importantly, in 30 days, we've taken the 4 weeks to really methodically build through a stack. It's by no means going to be finished at the end of the 30 days. It's going to be an iterative, it's going to be a continuous process of you learning, looking at the data, improving. So I would imagine that at the top of funnel, with your content, your thought leadership, with your trust building tools, with your landing pages, with your email notifications, customer onboarding, all of that kind of stuff, it's going to change, grow, iterate, and refine. You're going to be optimizing those conversion numbers that we had down the side. So when you think about this, make sure that you go through the checklist so you launch. Hey, it's not going to be perfect, but that checklist will get a lot of expensive mistakes out of the way. Get live, go out in the wild, meet those customers, embrace that, even if it's not your natural state, maybe a bit shy or uncomfortable. Don't worry. You're on a mission to build something with purpose. You're on a mission to bring impact to the world. And that should get you over the hump about meeting people. And then make sure you have that dashboard so you can come back, discuss with your colleagues what's working, what's not working, what do we do next? Even if there's just one thing we improve for the next sprint, what's that going to be? And what's really critical here is this becomes like a muscle that you build as an organization. You have processes, you have people, you have all that tooling from top, middle, bottom of funnel across paid, earned, and owned media. You have people, you have processes, all cohesively figuring out how do we best grow? How do we take the solution that we have to the world so that they care about it? How do they become ambassadors for us? How do they help us grow? Because if we grow, we are being true to our mission to bring our product, to go out and solve problems in the world, to help our customers with their jobs to be done. We've covered a lot. There's probably another 10 courses we need to do. We'd love to hear your feedback, so jump in the comments below. If you need the course materials, link is below. And I'm really open to hear how this really gets you started in this world of growth and going to market. For many people, this is just a really big mystery. Hopefully what we've done is we've broken it down, demystified it, and most importantly, we've empowered you to go out and grow your business, because chances are you've been building and building and building. Now it's time to grow, grow, grow. All right, that's it for the video. I'll catch you next time.